This is Justin B. Terry Smith, and I'm here at the National Black Justice Coalition's Out on the Hill. And I'm really excited because it's the first time ever that the Congressional Black Caucus is talking about LGBT issues and legislation that affect them.
Good morning. I'm Sharon Letman Higgs, the Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer of the National Black Justice Coalition. It is such an honor, it is such a privilege, it is such a blessing to have so many beautiful faces with us this morning. This is a first for us. This is an absolute first on this level, of this magnitude, in trying something different, trying something magnanimous to make the C in our name capitalize and magnify. So today we are here as friends, as allies, as colleagues, as strategists, as peers, as a collective body trying something a little new. And as we get ready to push the envelope in the African American community, push the envelope to be first and foremost recognized as black folks with a collective agenda to bring forward equality in our community, to be out and proud and loud about it, and ready to effectuate change in this country at the highest level. Because after you leave here, you will be headed to the White House.
We're headed to the United States Capitol to join a meeting with Speaker Pelosi and other African American organizations. NBJC is a member of the Black Leadership Forum, which is the umbrella organization for civil rights and social justice organizations, primarily African American organizations. And so we are the LGBT voice. We bring up the concerns of African American LGBT folks. And so today is just our monthly meeting, but this meeting is with the speaker. And so we're going to deliver our LGBT issue policy initiatives.
It's quite outstanding. I don't know if a lot of people understand the magnitude of having a very concerted effort, a very concerted cadre of queer identified black people to participate in what has always been, or at least for the past 40 years, probably the biggest gathering of black elected officials and black politicos in the country. I think that stated presence is going to bring a new energy to this conference. I think it's going to bring some new issues and highlight some new topics to people who ordinarily wouldn't, pay at the time of day. And I think it's also important, just community building, amongst ourselves, linking up with one another and realizing where the work is, what the work is, and how we can support each other in moving this movement forward.
This historic annual convening is intended to bridge the gaps and clear up misunderstandings about gender identity and sexual orientation, including the intersectionality with racial equality. It is critical that we support the empowerment of anyone who desires to contribute something positive to rebuilding our families, including LGBT people. Core to this goal is changing public policy in order to create safe spaces for black LGBT people to work, to protect and to support their parents and children, to attend school, to simply walk the streets authentically as themselves. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, out, proud, empowered, and respected.
I remember not too long ago, meeting a young state senator from Illinois who was meeting folks on the national circuit to see if he could, raise enough money to run for senator from Illinois. And I met him and I said, a man with the name Barack is never going to be senator from Illinois. They couldn't even deal with someone with the name Carol. From that point to this point, it's a reminder of progress, right? It's a reminder of what can happen when folks are visible and folks share their stories and folks kind of move beyond sort of our initial expectations of what we can and what we can't do.
You now have an opportunity to go to the Hill, to talk to the Hill, to the White House, to talk about a range of issues that are of significant importance to our community. And that many folks in the rooms in which we'll be speaking, have no clue. They've not had an opportunity to think seriously about these issues. They've not given significant thought to the impact. And in fact, when they think about our community, they often don't think of us as a part of it. the gay discussion in DC is about white LGBT rights and traditional black civil rights organizations getting together and working together. It's why Sharon Letman's work and Jasmine Hendricks and everyone at NBJC and all of you in this room, it's why that work is so incredibly important. Because we create a space for us to no longer be invisible.
Right.
Well, my hope and what my goal is going to be is, first of all, to give visibility to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people, and specifically African American lesbian, gays, bisexual, and transgender people, and to let those people who sit in these particular halls understand that we are a part of the larger community, and that when they think about the laws and the policy, that they need to consider that we're a part of their constituency as well.
The task force really stands for civic engagement of the LGBT community from the grassroots on up. We focus on local, state, and national advocacy, and we're extremely committed to racial, social, and economic justice. So when I'm on the Hill talking with members or their staffers about the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, I know that I'm going in there sometimes as the first person of color that they have had visit them as a registered lobbyist talking about a piece of legislation.
I want to learn more about what the federal government is doing and how we can be of assistance to move some of these policies to the table so that President Obama can actually sign some bills into law that's progressive, not just for the broader LGBT community, but looking more particularly for me is that the anti-bullying bill and safe schools bill that's before Congress. Working at Howard University and talking to some of our young people, I found there's a large number. If you're looking at black suicides and the black homelessness rate, 35%, up to 35% are black LGBT youth. So we have a high number of students who are going to school, being called the F word, as well as the N word, and they're negotiating multiple identities and figuring out how to create their own safe spaces. So to me, this gathering represents mentors for that population, but also advocates for that population, people who can make sure that our students can go to school and feel comfortable and confident in who they are and what they represent and how they identify.
We're at a tipping point as a community. We're at a critical tipping point, and the intersectionality of race, LGBT equality, sexual orientation, gender identity, the government system of this country, a black man being president,
All right.
the whole concept of the issue of race that nobody wants to talk about, and what all comes with that. We're at a tipping point. And we have to determine where we fit in that conversation. And we have to figure out if we're going to be sidelined by choice, or we're going to just be another force to be reckoned with by exercising our democracy.